Oh no, that was just part one. The part one is that. Part two is when I get here. Part three is when I left my partnership. So we just finished up part one.
There's experience back here that gave you the confidence that said, I bet on myself once, I could do it again.
Maybe, but it feels new every time.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm like, oh, I got the confidence from that. At least in the moment, I don't feel that. It feels just like, this just feels right.
Now I get more resources to do it on a larger scale with their stuff. I'm like, I could do this just as well as y'all are doing it, which means that we're peers.
The reason why I sort of downplay that is because I had...
Yeah, the thing I want to know is, I don't know if we've ever had a conversation about
hair loss. Bruh, it is killing me right now, okay?
They have solutions for that.
Oh, man.
Well, speaking of hair loss, insecurity. We never...
There you go. See how I did that?
But no, real talk. I don't think we've talked about a lot of stuff, but I don't think we've ever talked about insecurity like that, especially when it comes to real estate. You've done it, what, 15 years?
15 years, 16 years.
So yeah, I feel like that's something to talk to. Funny enough, did another conversation with the homie who used to be in the NFL, and it's a similar thing because it's a vulnerable thing to talk about. I guess it's kind of popular now to talk about insecurity, but it still isn't something that's normal from the neighborhoods we come from. I feel like every time someone does say, "Yo, I was actually insecure about this," my ears sort of perk up because I'm like, that ain't the thing that cats from the neighborhood normally talk about, and
it's still not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It still don't feel like something that people. It still feels more like a, nah, man, say it with your chest. Don't put that out there.
Don't let them see you crying. Don't let them see you hurting.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't. Yeah, I don't even know if that's. I don't know if it's about them not seeing you hurt. I almost have felt like emotions don't get you anywhere, so don't spend a whole lot of time with them. Don't spend a lot of time on them, right? But that might be another part.
Interesting. I never even thought about that.
That's how I think about it.
Dang, that sucks. You got to be able to feel things.
I mean, there's more to the story.
Okay.
So, I mean,
okay.
I get the emotion. I'm an emotional dude. Anger, sadness, all of that. But there is a point where I'm like, I'll sit and, I mean, we've talked about this often. Like, we vent, get things out, worry, stress, get all the things out. But at the end of the day, you still have to do something. You still have to at least take some step, move in some direction, start to make some sort of progress to some degree, right? Wallowing in the emotion doesn't really help. For the most part, grief, and there's some things where it's just like, the path is much longer. It's a much longer road. That's a different thing. But again, talking about insecurity is not small. It's not a small thing.
Right.
So I want to hear more about that.
Right. When you talk about real estate or insecurity in work, just the way my personality is set up, like I'm always sizing myself up against somebody, or I'm always very critical of myself. So
where does that come from?
I don't know, Counselor James. I don't know.
I mean, I'm hypercritical of myself too. I don't know if that's people will say it's just personality, but there's a part of me that's like, what is it? I have Nigerian parents. So I come from the family that's, you've heard Nigerians often say, if you get a 98 out of 100, they're like, where are the other 2 points, right? It's just the thing. It's like, if there's 100 points available, get the 100 points.
Yeah.
So I think there's a culture, there's a water you swim in that's like, you just catch it. It's more caught than taught. Where, and again, I have perfectionistic tendencies.
You do.
All that.
You definitely do.
Yes.
I'm not saying it in a bad way.
Thanks, Counselor Brandon.
Very true. I don't know where that comes
Let me
from.
validate your vices real quick.
I can't like attribute that to my parents.
Sure.
My parents sort of set a somewhat of an expectation, um, but it was nowhere near as critical as I've ever been on myself.
When did you feel like you first started doing that?
Oh, from the first time I picked up a football, like like for as long as I can remember, I was always critical of myself. I make a mistake in a game and completely like check out emotionally, and I'm just like I want to kill someone on the field because I'm so mad at myself that I made a mistake. Like
Mm.
I coaches would stop needing to correct me or yell at me or any of that because they just saw what my mistake already did to me. They're like, oh, I guess my job is done. he got that covered, and that was all the way through all my coaches figured that out about me right away that I can always self correct. And it mattered to me, you know,
When did you start playing football? What age?
4, 5.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
were you only child?
No. Oh, he was in the house, and I was the mascot for his little league teams when I was, when I was 4. He was 11.
Hmm.
So
I did not know the age difference with that.
mhm.
Significant. Okay.
So, you know, um, just me being critical has always been, I think, a good thing and a bad thing. It definitely gives me drive,
Mm-hmm.
but it also sometimes I get too down on myself or insecure about something that maybe I shouldn't be, or I'm second guessing things and maybe I shouldn't because of that need to want to get everything right, or win all the time. So, um,
So how'd that affect real estate? So you sent me that message
mhm.
that was just like, it was sort of a long, almost story about your sort of like navigating into real estate. And then I know often you talked about like, being the only one who looked like you in the rooms that you were in. Then you started to excel. You sort of talked about the insecurity in that. So I
Mhm.
was really interested in like what that process was like.
Yeah. So after like sending you that message, and there was some reflection in that, but then
We'll talk about the message. What was,
the message is basically just me explaining like 3 pivotal points in my career where I felt insecure, I felt not good enough, I felt unsure about my ability to achieve in that particular situation. So the first was when I when I bought, or we bought our first property,
who's
and
we?
Lisa and I.
Got it.
I can say I guess. But I'm a team player, so so even
Shout out Lisa.
yeah, shout out to you, honey. All right, so that first property, a lot of insecurity from that because I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but it was more of like a book smart thing, right? So now I had to go and apply what I thought I knew, and just got beat up. I mean, I got jumped like you got jumped in the park, like that's what it felt like. And so,
How so?
how so? um, well, I would say the biggest, excuse me, the biggest thing was underestimating, um, how much I needed to have a relationship with the tenants. Right,
Mm.
I needed them there because I needed to pay the mortgage. Excuse me, and I needed them to cooperate with each other because I needed them there to pay the mortgage. Like everything flows through them, right? And even so, that's one. The second is understand the partnership, right? Because it was me and my best friend at the time. He was playing ball. I was not anymore. And so we did a little partnership. And so that took me through the ringer because partnerships sometimes do. We can get into the details of that later.
Yeah, I want to go back to like not playing ball anymore. This is because you had a short stint in
This is like in between me being with the Raiders.
Okay.
And then
How long were you with the Raiders?
I was with the Raiders for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
I said, "What's up?"
Okay.
And then I started working. I was obviously doing all my Hollywood stuff, commercials and movie
That's
stuff
right.
like
I
that.
forgot about that. Yeah.
And so this was 2010. So yeah, so then I went shortly after that. I did go back to playing football after this purchase.
Where?
I went to arena football.
Okay.
I played 2 seasons with arena football. Um, so it's kind of like in between time.
Gotcha.
But I had some cash, and ever since, shout out to Cashflow 101, Robbie Kiyosaki. Ever since then, I already knew as soon as I got some cash, I was going to buy property. So that's what we did.
So your book smarts was Robert Kiyosaki, the cash flow game, sort of just playing through that.
Playing through that.
Cash flow 101, you talking about the game, right? The board game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I had other forms of education when it came to real estate and like property management and things like
Okay.
that.
What did you read? What was your sort of like?
Well, I became licensed
Okay.
as a real estate agent in California. Never did a deal. By the way, I just got
took the test.
Everyone goes, "Hey, I'm gonna get into real estate." You know?
Sure.
So that's what I did.
But it's still exposure. You still are like,
Yeah,
I want to
for
go do this. I need to go take a test. I got to study at least to pass it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was at least some exposure to what real estate was in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
The biggest book that really had an impact on me is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know I've read through or like browsed through some other real estate books. But I would say I learned most by doing. So by the time I had bought that fourplex, I had probably underwritten 20 deals, maybe. We were really close on some deals in North Carolina.
When you say underwritten, what do you mean? Could you
analyze? So I analyze the deal. I get the income, the expenses.
So that's what underwriting is. It's
yeah.
just analyzing.
Just analyzing the deal, and analyzing how it's performing and how it can potentially perform in the future.
How did you learn how to do that?
First, it was back of the napkin, and then it was
like how, like
how, like
when you're saying analyzing this, did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad and then just start doing math?
Yeah.
So underwriting is just doing math on the numbers of real estate.
That's it.
What's the price? How much is it going to make? What are all the expenses? That's all it is.
Math and research. Okay. You need some research.
What's the research?
To pull the info. You need to know, what the rental. Can't think right now, but like
the rental market.
Yeah, like how much can it rent for? Okay. Right. You need to know.
So that's like trying to find comps around.
You need to find some comps.
What are other places renting in with the same features or specs?
Correct.
Same 4-bedroom, same 2 bathrooms, same square footage, same somewhat area.
Yeah, the word comp is short for comparable. So
sure.
Exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Sure.
Then you need to know like all the expense details, like how much is insurance going to cost? Well, you can't just look that up. You have to make some phone calls. You have to get some quotes. You have to fill out an application.
That's a little bit of time. You actually got to do some. Yeah. That's a little bit of due diligence. I got to make a phone call. I can't just click around the internet and find that information.
You can try.
But you ultimately have to call somebody and say like, hey, if I'm buying this house or I'm like, how much would insurance cost? And you have to give them the address.
You give them the address. You have to go, is there a pool? Is there not? What's the type of construction? How old is the roof? How old is the electrical?
So it takes a bit of time.
Time and research. Like you have to know that stuff to be able to give it to them to then them give you a quote back.
In order to get that number and plug it into the math that you're doing.
Yes.
On the back of a napkin.
Then there's taxes, right? Then you have to figure out, okay, how much are my taxes going to go up? So there's a
go
process.
Up or just be like, what taxes you're going to get? Because if this is your first property, like,
so taxes are reassessed after. I don't quote me, but in most cases, taxes, your tax payment is reassessed, or your tax value is reassessed after the purchase. Reassess, meaning like, oh, the county figured out that this is worth more because it just traded for a higher
but if
price.
it's your first property, so if somebody I'm going from the place of someone who's just like, they read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Maybe they played Cash Flow 101, which is the board game. If you haven't played it, you should play it. It's actually a good game. And then they go, okay, I want to buy my first property. So now they're just looking. They're on Zillow and they see something somewhere. You're saying, well, you got to get some numbers on it so you could figure out the rental because you could pull comparables from somewhere. So that's fairly easy. Then you're saying you got to call someone to figure out what insurance is going to cost. So that takes time. You got to give them the address. You got to give them specs on the house.
Do you have to? I mean, you could call chat. You can.
Sure. Maybe you can do it.
You can get some roundabout numbers online, but you asked me what I was doing. At the time, I had to, I wanted everything to be as accurate as possible. So
Sure.
I was doing that sort of legwork because that's what I cared about. So that's where I was spending my time.
I think that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
if somebody's going to actually do it, I mean, you can go to chat, but if it just gives you generic numbers and it's not going to give you an accurate, then you might as well just like take the time. It is a sizable purchase.
Yeah.
Go find it out. And again, this is first property. By the time you get to your fifth, especially if we think countdown, you've done this a number of times where it's not going to take as long. But the first time it's going to take a little bit of time, but place some phone calls, get accurate numbers, and you have a much, much better, it's still an estimate. You have a much, much better understanding of what you're going to, of like what the costs are going to be. Because then you're talking about taxes, and so I'm like, taxes in what sense? Like
property taxes.
Okay, got it. But you'll be incurring them for the first time when you buy the house.
Yes, but they're gonna they're gonna go up. So you can't. They're gonna give you numbers. Like the seller will give you numbers. Hey, here's what I pay for insurance. Here's what I pay for taxes. Blah 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 blah.
Got it.
Doesn't necessarily mean that's what you're gonna pay. So you need to find out, are my taxes gonna go up? It's a quick call to the county treasurer's office. Hey, I'm gonna buy this property. What is gonna happen with the taxes?
There you go.
Prime example. I didn't make a call to the Los Angeles Housing Authority, so we buy this fourplex, and this story will be quick. There was a 5-bedroom unit at the bottom, and they were paying like $2,500 at the time. I could get like $4,000 for it.
Wow.
So, or it was something crazy
Something more.
where it was like, I think they were paying 25. Maybe it was 15, but it was like 1,500 or more I could get for that unit. So it's my first property. I'm trying to maximize things. I probably do it differently now, but I'm like, okay, well, they got to go. You know, like I gotta get them out ASAP. So I'm trying to figure it out. They pay their rent early every month. Okay, I can't do that. All right. Then I figured out what rent control was. Right. I was like, oh, I'll just raise the rent on them. Nah, can't do that. Oh, I'll just they have this pit bull, and my insurance says they can't have a pit bull or any vicious breed of animal. So, hey, you got to go. Nope, can't do that either. Like so I didn't do the due diligence or really know to call and figure out what the rules of the rent control are. I know it like by heart now, but like I didn't. So,
and this is how many years ago?
This is 11 years ago.
Okay.
No, 16 years ago.
There we go.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm a little insecure that we're not talking about my insecurities.
It's fine, but you got to go. You got to go through the story. I mean, you're still saying you bought this fourplex back in the beginning. So again, you say some things, and I just sometimes I'm like, man, I might forget to go and like touch on that.
Yeah.
So I don't mind going on a detour and then coming back and being like, all right, you bought that, you didn't know a lot, and this is part of it. It's like I didn't know about rent control. This is 16 years ago, which is what a lot of people's first time will be like this time.
Yeah.
The first time I do it, I'm not going to know a whole lot about how to handle a tenant. You asked me the last conversation, it's like, what about the lease? How did you know about like managing that relationship? And how did you know? I was like, I didn't know. I just, somebody lives there. I'm going to try to be as nice as possible and do my best.
Yeah, we're just going to put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, you just like, you go one step at a time, and it's like, okay, and it's been 5 years now,
So we bought it, and there was a unit vacant. There was that family downstairs. There was a guy on Section 8. So I have to learn like all of these things all at one time. Like I had no system to collect rent.
Hmm.
I had no system to pay the bills. Um, I had no system for maintenance. I had no system to handle disputes between tenants. Like all these things just happened right away, like
Hmm.
snap of a finger. I signed my name, and now I have all these issues. So um, just a little bit of uncertainty on
Hmm.
like, can I actually do the thing that I think I want to do? And I did. You know, that was fine.
So you talked about your partner at the time. He was playing ball, you weren't, and that became an issue. What was the third part? The third,
The third, what? Insecurity
yeah.
for this particular scenario. Um,
Just in the story that you had sent me, you said there were three parts.
oh no, that was just part one. So part one is that. Part two is when I get here. Part three is when I
Oh, okay.
left my partnership. So we just finished up part one.
All right, let's keep
So
going.
part two is fast forward a bunch of stuff we're gonna have to cover later, but um, I get here and I have I think 4 properties now. 3 of them are here. One's in LA, and I moved here to grow my real estate business. And so
Why?
just because it was just more expensive to buy property in LA, and then the rent control just freaked me out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Okay, you
That's
can't do
funny.
anything. It's anyway.
I mean,
California
you won't be the
landlord.
first. You definitely weren't the last.
Oh,
So.
dude. So I get here. I meet 2 guys that see some potential in me. They see like, hey, he doesn't know a lot about real estate, but he's very hungry. Lots of desire, lots of drive. Think we can work with that. And so, um, similar to my from high school to college scholarship situation story, I could tell you another time. I bet on myself and I say, hey, look, I'd love to work for you guys, but if I can't become a partner, I'm not interested.
Hmm.
Now, like,
Now
that's
I
kind of
can't.
dumb to say that, right? I mean, it's not, but
Well, I mean, you can't say high school to college scholarship. I bet on myself, and that was the same thing that I did now. So
yeah.
you gotta to talk about the high school to college
No.
scholarship.
Can
You
we,
have to just you can't just say similar to what I did in high school to get to college.
okay.
I did in this situation where I was offered, an opportunity to work for someone. I said I'm not going to do it unless I can become a partner. I'm just saying people think like that, but there's something back here where it's just like there's experience back here that gave you the confidence that said I bet on myself once I could do it again. You got to talk about
The
this.
reason why I will, but just to unpack why I just kind of just breeze through that is because that's literally been my whole life. Like betting on myself is the reason I have these insecurity stories to even tell you is because I always have bet on myself. So it's just one of 10 pivotal times in my life that I bet on myself. So it's not like it didn't mean anything, but it was just like, yeah, we can talk about that later. But like, sure. Um,
I mean, you're going to
um,
make me ask you when was the first time you did it?
gosh,
You just get,
this detour just keeps going.
you got to get back to the origin story. People are going to be like,
Okay.
how did you get here? Like, how did you get to the point where you're like, well, I've just always, no, you weren't. You did not come out the womb betting on yourself. You
I think
don't
I
do
did.
that when you come out of the womb.
I think I did.
Sure. Sperm worked through the thing, got into the egg, and was like, yo, I'm here.
What did 2 Chainz say?
I understand
I'm
that.
different.
Sure.
Okay.
But there's a point where you're like, yo, I did this. Something happened early that was like, all right, I did that. Then it comes like, okay, I've done it once. I got to do it again. Then you get to this real estate. I've done it all these times. What's this time? What's one more time?
Maybe, but it feels
Sure.
new every time.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm like, oh, I got the confidence from that. At least in the
Okay.
moment, I don't feel that. It feels just like this just feels right. Like this feels right. It may be anti, but it feels right. So um, out of college or out of high school, I was injured for most of my junior year. I had a pretty good senior year, but it was kind of getting late in the season, and my offers were very low. Um, I had an offer to Cal. I had an offer to University of Kansas Jayhawks. Both of them pulled their offers late, so I didn't have
Your senior year.
my senior year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't have an offer. Then University of Nevada Reno, who was at the time was in the WAC, I believe, the Western Athletic Conference, which is like a lower level of the Pac-10, which is now was
Pac-12.
Pac-12. Now it's, we don't know. Most of those schools are going to be in the Pac-12 this coming year. Anyways, the Pac-10 was like the premier conference to be on the West Coast. The
Yeah.
WAC was like their step brother,
Yeah.
younger step brother. So, so Nevada says, "Hey, come visit." And I hadn't been on a visit yet, so I'm like, "Okay, let's go." So I went down there. You know, they had my jersey in the locker room, my name on it, my number. I walk out to the field. They do an announcement, like my jersey and my pictures on the screen. Like, no one's ever done that, right? And I'm like, "Oh, this
They're
is
pitching
great."
you.
Huh?
They're pitching you.
They're pitching me. They're pitching me. So everything's cool. I go out with some guys on the team, blah, blah, blah. It's all kind of hazy. I just remember the day before I was leaving, me and my parents sat down with the head coach in his office.
Mm.
And he's like, "Hey, we see you as one of our premier defensive backs. We think you can play early, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "I need to play both ways, coach." Again, just like, who does that? Like, why would you say that? Like, if my son said that, I would have said, "Coach, he didn't mean that. But give me 1 second, bro." And I'll be like, "Are you out your mind?" But my parents was like, they trusted me, I guess. So anyway, anyways, I didn't accept the scholarship offer.
This is full scholarship.
Yes, because I knew I could play in the Pac-12, Pac-10.
How did you know that?
Because I spent my whole life playing in LA, and all the guys from LA go to Pac-10 schools, mostly, probably 90%. So I'm like,
You like, I know I'm better than
I'm
these
like,
guys.
I'm not, I don't want nobody I played against to watch this and be like, be Hamps being a hater, but like, I just knew I was on the level,
Yeah.
not necessarily below
Yeah.
the level,
Yeah.
right? So I'm
It's like I play with all you guys in the neighborhood or whatever. It's just like I know I can play with y'all.
yeah, we compare stats, speed, agility. What do you want? Broken tackles? I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm right there. So I was like, then Cal was like, "Hey, if nothing happens, we'll bring you in as a priority walk on if nothing happens, because it is kind of late in the recruiting season." So I turned that down, and then I called up Cal. This is kind of like this. You know that? Never mind. There's a Kanye song where he's talking about his story, and he's like, "Yo, I called Capitol Records, like, 'Hey, yo, is that deal still on the table?'" And that's what happened. I called him back like, "Yo, can I make good on that promise?" And so that's how I ended up at Cal. And then a year into that, I earned a scholarship and started for 3 seasons.
Dope.
So,
So fast forward, you have this opportunity
mhm.
from these guys who run this private equity.
Private equity company. They're doing a few different things: storage, express car washes. At the time, it was Meineke, like auto care, and large apartments and small apartments.
Got
So I came on to work for them in the boutique apartment space that platform that the company had. And so, not knowing much, I just said, "Hey, I don't really want to work for anybody. I've done that before. I need to have ownership." And they were like, "Hey, if you prove that you're, bringing enough value to the table to be a partner with us, got it." And I said, "Where do I sign?" Like, it was a lot of uncertainty, but I'm like, I know I can make that happen. Whatever. I don't even know what that is. But I
Yeah.
just know I can do it. So it's kind of like, again, like, who does that? Like, just take the opportunity and then talk about it later. Like, don't
Yeah, but it
Don't
was,
shoot yourself.
but that's where I ask,
Potentially.
but that's where I asked the same thing about high school to college. You're at Nevada Reno.
Hmm.
They're saying, yo, we're going to make you a premier. You're like, nah, I need to play both ways. You decline the scholarship offer because you've been exposed. You know the guys playing at all these other schools, and you're like, these guys are not better than me. I'm not saying maybe necessarily I'm better than them, but I know we can all play together. So if they're playing at Pac-12 schools, I can play at a Pac-12 school. And maybe I'm not going to get the scholarship right from the jump, but if I know that my talent matches or exceeds the talent from other guys starting who got offers from those schools, I'm sure if I go to one of those schools, I'll eventually get there. Was there some sort of the same exposure? Because now you're saying you already own 3 or 4 properties. They're cash flowing. So you're already making money to some degree, maybe not as much as you want at the time.
Yeah.
But you're already making something. So when they say, well, if you show us that you could bring the value to our platform, was there like a deal or an agreement, or can you speak to, I don't know if you can speak to, like, what was the arrangement where you're like, okay, well, I had to prove I could do X, which I kind of already done, like on a small scale with my own stuff. Now I get more resources to do it on a larger scale with their stuff. I'm like, I could do this just as well as y'all are doing it, which means that we're peers.
Yeah, you did a great job explaining that, and I would love to say yes, but the answer is no. It's just not. I mean, the worlds were so different with like the properties and the assets that I have versus what we were doing. It just, there was very little parallel. I mean, obviously it's real estate, it's rental real estate. You're talking about renting apartments, signing leases, things like that. Like, yeah, there was a lot of that crossover, but I was buying Class C workforce housing in low income neighborhoods. And I still love doing that today. Right? I've always had a heart for that. What we were buying was
personally, you were buying.
So that was what I was
C
buying. Yes, that's what I had owned
workforce
at the time.
housing in low income neighborhood. That's what
Yes.
you're doing personally.
Yeah,
and still do now.
yes,
and still enjoy doing.
Yes. So that's my, at the time, right? That's my experience. That's where my experience is coming from. Heavy Hispanic. And yes. So then we move from Class C workforce housing in affluent neighborhoods or up and coming gentrifying neighborhoods.
Personally.
No, with my new group, with my partners.
But it's still Class C.
It's still Class C, but I gotta turn that Class C into like a B+. See, I had no experience doing that. I had no experience with like full on renovations, gutting things to the studs. Like I had, I guess I could say kind of to your question. It's not all the way no, because like I did a bunch of work in construction. Like I love construction. So
you'd seen it before.
I'd seen it and done it with my own hands.
Bro, that's a thing.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
You guess that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I've seen this before. I've seen it to the studs. I've seen tiles. I've seen like grout. I've seen people do this and break this up. I've done demos before. I like doing that stuff. So I've not only owned my own property, but I've also done my own renovations, or at least been involved in a lot of renovations where I'm like,
not a lot.
Maybe not a lot, but I've done enough to know that I can do it.
Sure.
And then you join a new group and they're like, well, add the value.
But it wasn't like you're saying.
I'm not saying it's that simple.
You're saying like, hey, this is your resume, bro. You're ready for this job. Like, that's not the way it went.
Sure. But again, I'm summarizing something that, again, I'm sure there's more detail. There's more to the story when you're going from high school to college and you're going to decline a full ride scholarship and then go to Cal, make a phone call. I'm sure there's a lot more emotions in that, but it still comes down to, I knew the guys who were playing at these schools. I knew I can play just as well. And so I felt like if I went to these schools, I can make my own way.
Yeah.
I've bought property. I've gone through some adversity. I've been in construction. I like construction. Then I get an opportunity to do it on a higher level. I've already got some experience and I like construction. I got to do it at a higher scale, which again speaks to the insecurity and like there's more on the line. There's other people's money, so I'm sure there's that has something to do with it. But it's not from zero. It's not like I've never done this before and I'm like, someone's gonna figure out that I'm a fraud. It's just I haven't done it to this level, but I know I've done it.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely did a great job drawing those parallels, and it's true. It's true. I guess the reason why I sort of downplay that is because I had to learn more than what I was bringing to the table, right? So it was like, let's say I was bringing to the table 20%, I had to learn 80%. So it felt like I really didn't have much to draw on because the learning curve was so high.
What made the learning curve so high?
Just because commercial real estate is just a different beast. Like when you're talking about, it's so relational. It's way different than residential. It's so relational. And then,
so what you were doing personally was all residential.
It was 4 or 5 units, 2 units, 1 unit. That's all residential, in my opinion. I mean, the technical limit for residential is 4. So anything 5 and up is considered commercial.
Had you done anything 5 and up personally?
Yeah, 1 5 unit.
Okay.
So yes.
So again, you weren't completely, you ain't going completely blind.
I didn't go, no.
But you didn't have, okay. And so I get it. Like Monty Williams has this quote that says reps remove doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like it's like I had done a 5 unit. And then what was the number that you had to do when you first came into the new group? How big were those units?
The first one I did was 23.
So almost 5X what you had ever done before. So I get like, I ain't never done a rep like this. It's like going from, I don't know if it's like this because I didn't do it. Like going from college to the pros, where people talk about the speed of the game and how much faster it gets. You're just like, this just ain't. It's not even the same comparison. College and pros are just not the same at all.
If you fast though, it is. But if you're not fast, then you have to you gotta adjust. But if
are you even making it if you're not that fast? That's what I'm saying.
Have you watched football?
So I say this from Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was like, I think he graduated from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, when I got to the pros, he's like, bro, it just was not, I felt like he said it wasn't the same. Like the pace is so different. Same thing with college basketball.
Because you got the best of the best.
Yeah. It's just like everybody there is fast. Yeah. Everybody there is like, for the most part, I know that. But
so some moves don't work.
225 and like everybody's up there in like the 15, 18, 19, 23.
30.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they're cast like in the normal gyms, like 225 for 3, maybe. Right? And now everybody in the league is like, bro, I'm doing 315 today for reps.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, that's just a different level of the game. So like, I haven't done.
By the way.
That's fine.
I used to,
That's a detour.
You said it.
But going from, I've only done 5 to doing 23. That's a different kind of rep, right?
Yeah, and there's so much more like of the business side that goes into these deals because you've got lots more preparation on the front end with other people's capital, making sure you're getting the right loan, you have the right relationship with the lenders, the right relationship with the brokers, right? They're more than half the deals I've done have been off market. Brokers bringing me deals, agents bringing me deals. That's the business side that I knew nothing about. Then I'm managing like 10 employees. I never managed an employee before.
From the jump.
Yeah. No, it's just people working for me. Like, oh, I made so many mistakes on the front end. Dude. But like, I have an engineering brain. I understand how things work together. I'm very logical, so I understand like how to work with people and stuff. So it wasn't like I completely bombed. Like I haven't lost money on a deal. It's just
because you didn't. Did you ever lose money on a deal?
No, I've never lost money.
I was like, I don't think you did.
But knowing everything that I was about to start, there was some insecurity there. Like, dude, like I remember I'll never forget this day. The first meeting I went on with my partners was a property tour of a deal we were going to buy. And I saw that too. I had no idea how to dress, bro. Like I didn't know what to put on. So you want me to tell you what I wore? Like it was when I got out the car and I saw all the guys standing at the entrance of this apartment community. I'm like, I just want to shrivel up and just like, can I just go invisible? Just can I just? I wish I could turn around. Like, it was bad. So like, and that didn't help. Like I'm just like, oh, I'm in over my head. Like, oh, can I do this? So now I'm like, okay, I gotta go buy new clothes like ASAP, right? Um, so it's all of that. Just not knowing if I belonged, if I could compete, if I could bring that value, right? If I could be, the star player like I'm always used to being, right? At the top of the team or whatever. Um, and that ended up working out. That
And
ended up
then you
working out.
left.
I did.
So what was that? So that's a different. So that was like the third part.
The third
First part is
part.
getting into it. Second part is like, then I leveled up
Mm-hmm.
and didn't really know if I had bitten off more than I can chew.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes were bigger than my stomach, sort of situation. And then it's like,
But I had heart though. Okay, that's what it's comes from.
and then the third piece is like, okay, now I'm going out on my own. And now again, like it's almost wouldn't be full circle because it's only three. So like full triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the story's still being written. It could be another
The story
movement.
is still being
Right.
written.
So what was the part that was so sort of like destabilizing?
Just shout out to those two partners. They know who they are. I could not say anything bad about them. Like they were great to me, everything I needed at the time. Um, and so, I'm using that to answer your question, like not having that, like, and you literally are like, it's almost like you're on a cruise ship. Unfortunately, the ship sinks. Everyone survives. But now you go from being on this gigantic ship, right? All the protection, you're headed in one direction, to now it's like, I'm safe, but I'm on this big ass ocean on a floaty. It's like, oh, what's under me? What's over me? Like, when am I gonna get to land? Like all the things you might think about is like what I'm was thinking about at that time in 2021.
Like all that infrastructure is gone. Like I
Bro.
don't got no compass, so sense of direction. Like which way do I go? What's the best next step? And the comforts and
Yeah, all of it. All of it. So I mean, if you could just picture yourself in the middle of the ocean with a floaty, like you could feel insecurity just by picture that in your brain. That's how I felt. All those things.
What was the? I mean, that picture can bring a lot to mind. Like, was there a particular fear? Like, was there a fear that like especially stood out? Because the first thing I thought of was like, I'm in the middle of an ocean and I'm on a floaty. I'm like, something can come get me.
Mm-hmm.
Is the first thing I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So what was what did you feel like could come get you being out there on your own?
Man, that is a great question. I think the winner of those would be a misstep by me. Like I get myself. That's the biggest fear. Like, what are you gonna do, Brandon, to F this up? You take this big giant risk and you've got all this potential, but how are you gonna screw it up? Like that's what's going through my head.
Was there any reason why that one? Almost like you didn't trust yourself. Some people would call it imposter syndrome. I don't really like imposter syndrome.
I think really it was. I don't know, bro. I don't know where that came from. What is imposter syndrome?
Just the idea, like it's the idea that you get into a space and you feel like you shouldn't have ever been there.
Oh, you're an imposter. Oh,
yeah. I like to call it automatic negative thinking. It's sort of a more, I feel like, relatable term as opposed to just feeling like, again, the idea of feeling like you're an imposter is just like, oh, I should have never been here. I'm actually not qualified to be here. I don't know how I got here, which I think is more almost like programmed messaging from like, I think it comes from, childhood, friendships, complex trauma, all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing. Automatic negative thoughts come from a long history of negative messaging, whether it's often it's from caretakers, but complex trauma talks about all the other relationships that sort of like embed and sort of imprint the same negative messages: a bad relationship, bad friends, a bad coach, um, teachers, like whoever, people who have some degree of influence enough to where the things that they say really just stick. Like it actually inserts itself in, again, there's a thing in your brain called schema. It just inserts itself in there. And you just, once it's lodged in there, it's in there. And it takes a long time, often therapy, professional, friends, community, to sort of almost like outgrow it
Mm-hmm.
to where you like understand the truth of, I've done this before. I've been here. I've got a ton of reps doing this. I am qualified. Like I can get this done. I just need to, focus on the next step.
Um, I mean, maybe yes, yes. There's a
Mm.
lot of negativity in my brain for sure. That's why we're going over different ways that I told myself I wasn't enough, right? In different stages of my life.
Where'd that come from?
I can't attribute it to any of the things you were saying, but while you're talking, I'm trying to. And I'm kind of settling on the fact that like I'm a risk taker. I take more risks than the average person, probably more risks than the average risk taker. So I'm often putting myself in these situations where there's fear or there's unknown because I'm betting on me or something to happen. Um, so I think and it's natural, right? If you're taking a risk, like fear is there and a risk most of the time, even if you block it out, even if you just full send it, like there's still some, you
Mhm.
probably got more confidence than fear, but it's still there. Like
Yeah.
this could go wrong. So I've just been used to being like, I played varsity at ninth grade. Now, there's more to the story. I didn't officially play, but I was playing, and my parents were like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. You need to go back to Little League. So I played Little League in the ninth grade. So it's like I've always been in this like, are you in over your head or not? Like you
Mm.
got to prove yourself every single time you step out to go do something. And I've just gotten used to it. Um, or,
I'm just
or
interested in where that comes from.
I'm a dog, bro. I'm trying to tell you that. Okay. Dang.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
But
it's
to the
just
point to
in
where
me.
where
I
you're
don't,
just like, I feel like I need to prove myself.
no, I didn't feel like I needed to prove myself. This is where I belong. I'm just going to go there, even though it doesn't look like I belong to be there. Like it was never like, I never did anything for other people's satisfaction.
Mhm.
It was always, I just want that. I'm going to go get it. Right. That guy's starting. I want to start. I'm going to go get it. Not because I don't like him, not because I want to take his spot. It's just, I think that's my spot. I'm going to just go have the spot. Um, I, I don't know. Do I sound like super arrogant right now?
I mean, it's fine if that's what you believe, but you get into the
No, but
situation
do
where
I sound arrogant right now?
I think that's besides the point. I feel like you
Okay.
get to the middle of the ocean and you feel like you get to a place where you feel like, what are you going to do to F this up?
Mm-hmm.
So you've taken this risk because you feel like you can
Mm-hmm.
and you're capable of doing it. But when you get there, something else pops up and says, maybe not. I'm just trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
what people can learn from that.
well,
Who are going to go down the same path,
I
right?
did mess it up.
Tell me
And
more.
I think in every situation there were there were missteps and there were mistakes and trips and all that stuff inside of me taking those chances. Like it just came with the territory.
Mhm.
So it could be that like,
But you're talking
oh,
about missteps in the sense of like you never managed people, and so maybe you like mistreated someone, or you like
mm,
when you're saying missteps, because from a
maybe mishandled a situation.
sure, because you just said you never lost money on a deal.
I've never lost money on a deal.
That's a pretty important thing. It's like no, that's a strong track record. Like I've never lost money on a deal, but I have what like mishandled the situation, which means what like
I have sold a deal prematurely,
As in, you
um,
could have made more.
or I should have made a different decision versus sell the deal. Like that's where like high level business decisions get very complex, right? Like they're it's hard to really get into it
Sure.
in this because you've got to talk about like really personal stuff, but
Sure.
like um just to try to be generic and still like give you the point. It's like like sometimes in a movie or somebody has to choose between two good things.
Mm-hmm.
Um those are the big missteps I'm talking about. Like, damn, I chose the wrong good thing. Or at least it feels like right now I chose the wrong good thing.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a professor who used to say the enemy of great isn't evil, it's good.
Mm,
And I was like, that's strong.
mm,
So, like, oftentimes, the thing that'll keep you from doing a great thing is a good thing.
yes.
That sounds like what you're saying
Yes. And I feel like sometimes I went for good.
instead of great.
Mhm. And so someone else looks at me and says, "What are you talking about? That wasn't a mistake." No. In my brain, that was a huge mistake. Like I could cry over that. So those are the three sort of points in my real estate career where I felt the most insecurity. There are definitely others. Lots of times where I'm the only person of color in a room. That doesn't feel great. Um, never got. Ne- it doesn't feel great. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of get, I remember being in the music business. And at the time, I wasn't, I mean, now I make my own clothes, which is an interesting sort of,
Shout out
full circle
to.
thing. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shout out Quenu.
Okay.
But so this is 2014. I got into the music business in 2012. I helped a friend sort of sign an artist who became, who helped sort of catalyze the label that he was
Mhm.
running. That was in 2011. 2012, he asked me to sort of just get involved. I was in seminary at the time, but I always felt like I could write. So I was like, I feel like I could put words together. That's a thing that I've been doing since I was a teenager. I listened to what people would say, and I'm like, I feel like I would say that like this. It feels cleaner, clearer. I feel like people would get it better.
If you guys don't know James,
Yeah.
you don't get that joke.
Professional
Okay.
yapper. So anyways, 2012, they asked me to get involved. So I'm writing the PRs. I'm writing this stuff like when an album comes out, I'm sort of writing the storyline for it, sending it to outlets. And eventually I come on full time. And why am I telling this story? Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Um, anyways, so while we're doing that, when I come on full time, one of the things that I wasn't into was fashion. Like I wasn't really into style. I wasn't following it that much. I was following it enough to know about it. Right. I bought magazines. I had my own collection, but I didn't understand the relational component of style and fashion. And um, the brother I was working with was like, "Yo, man, you just can't be wearing whatever when you walk into these rooms because oftentimes what you wear says something to the person you're talking to before you ever open your mouth. If you're going to build a relationship with them, what you wear often says like, do we even have um, a degree of like um, commonality, or do we have something in common that says like, oh, we speak the same language, we're from the same world, and often that matters a lot more when you're trying to get these deals, distribution deals, whatever. So when you talked about like you got out of the car and these guys are at this apartment complex, you felt like you was underdressed. I'm like, oh yeah, I was like, I remember having a couple moments like that. I was just like, man, what am I wearing? First time I went to college, I walked into some business meeting and I had on these like baggy pants that were like shiny and stuff that in high school would have been straight. Where I'm from. I walked into this room and people were like dressed up in like, you know, jackets and ties, and I'm a freshman walking in here with a hat, like with a visor hat. It's just a terrible, terrible situation. And I'm like, I want to just curl back and just like go back to my room. I was like, nah, I said I was gonna be here, so I look terrible. Um, and so the idea of just like being the only person of color, having a style or having a way that you feel comfortable And I've always felt like I wanted my work to speak for itself. I never felt like I wanted to wear a costume, and then that be the thing that's almost like the key into some door. It's like, oh, well, if I dress the part, then I get in. But in actuality, I may not actually be capable or qualified to even be there. It's just, I just look like I am. And people say that, fake it till you make it or do whatever. I'm like, I do understand the sort of, there are layers to it. Like it's kind of like shades of gray. Like I understand like there are parts to play in that. But I've always preferred like being known for the work. Like, oh, he could get the job done, or he can get me the results that I'm looking for. He could lead that team, and then let that be the thing that sort of opens the opportunity. But I mean, in the real world, you have to do both. So I get it.
Well, do you? I mean, I see how you dress at work. Like your work is speaking for itself. You don't go to work in a suit
I
or
don't.
jeans
I don't.
or
But nobody.
or
But
button.
nobody in my work does.
Did you start that?
No, it's the nature of the industry. Software, you don't. People don't wear suits and ties and
Oh,
stuff like that. We're in software. So,
okay.
so that's why I mean that was sort of a. And again, yeah, that's one of those situations where it's like almost like perfect alignment.
Yeah.
And again, those are the kind of things you pray for. You're just like, this I really align with like a lot. Like
Yeah.
again, the owner is a friend of mine, but even his personal mission statement is stuff that I've said almost verbatim myself. Like the thing that I feel like I do well in regards to like unlocking what I believe people have or capacities or capabilities that sometimes they don't know they have. It's just like, let me match this pattern and be like, no, this was here, that was there, that was there. Like you didn't realize you could do that, and just like lift that latch. It's like, oh, I didn't, and just sort of open a new world. And then over here, he's talking about cultivating creativity that exists in every person. It's just like, oh, that's the same. That's essentially the same thing. It's just like, oh, there's a thing there. It already exists. I'm just trying to like, it looks like there's a padlock on it. I'm just going to see if I can pick that real quick, take it off, and then open that latch so you can like be free and do what you need to do. So, yeah, but that's the kind of alignment you want, you know?
Yeah.
So the question I would say is for people entering the space, like I was talking to a buddy yesterday, and he was saying like he was upset that we didn't talk more about the countdown method. But I think some of this insecurity stuff, especially when like, people are in transition, they have some cash. You are in transition, you are in between, you have some cash. You say like, hey, this is the thing I want to do. For people who are also making that sort of first purchase, first investment, they've already done this before, or getting into the second thing, like my situation where we're like, hey, we want to get you in a threeplex. Let's look at some properties. Like what would you say would be lessons that you learned sort of working through those stages of insecurity? Because you've sort of worked through all three of them. Like you did the first one, then you fast forward, you had 4 properties. So clearly you learned and overcame some stuff, and you've done one that's considered even commercial because it was 5. Then you get to a place where you're working up to being a partner, and doing much bigger deals. And then now you come out into your own. And again, there's a whole lot more you're learning now, and that story's still being written, but you're still doing it,
Mm-hmm.
So what would be is there maybe one thing that you would take from each of those periods? You would say, hey, if you're going on this journey, here are at least 3 things that I would say to keep in mind to keep going.
3 things. Number 1, I would say be conservative. Number 2, I would say
Elaborate. Be conservative. What do you mean?
be conservative in how you're analyzing deals, returns, potential, that sort of thing. Like don't disregard the downside because you think the upside's so high. So
That's good.
then I would say um, if you're not going to be a real estate professional and like this is my work. So like if this is not going to be your work, um, then I would say have some good people around you
Mm.
that you can lean on and trust. And then number 3,
When you say good people around you that you can lean on and trust, what do you mean? Like, is that partners, or is that, like, what do you mean good people?
it could be partners. It could be, construction workers, maintenance guys. It could be property managers. It could be attorneys. It could be um, don't, if you're not going to be a real estate professional, don't shoulder all the burden,
Mm.
is what I'm saying. You have to have someone to take that thing you don't want to do, right?
Almost like figure out how to build a team.
Yeah.
And that's probably another episode to sort of talk through like what does a good team consist of?
That would be a great story because throughout my career, that has changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could probably speak to that. Um,
Okay, number 3.
and the third thing would be to set goals. Set goals.
Tell me more.
Have something that you're shooting for, whether it's this is the return I want to make on my money, like the minimum return. This is the type of deal I want to buy. This is how many properties or units I want to have by this time. Like think critically about where you are and how you can realistically get where you want to be, and then like set that whole timetable up. Don't freelance the whole thing. You know, like put some intentionality and some thought towards it and come up with a real plan and set some goals.
Yeah, I published the video. I told you about this, that goal setting guide.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I would add to that I think, because you say this all the time, you're like, I don't want to work for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I talk about goal setting, I'm always like, man, I think people should ask not necessarily what they want to do first, like what they want to accomplish, but who they want to become. And I think about that when you say, I didn't want to work for anybody. And so when I go set the goals, be intentional, but start with like, who do I actually want to be, right? I want to have independence. I want to be a present father. I want to have the space to travel the country in an RV. I want to have the space to go take my family overseas. This is the kind of person I want to be. This is the kind of life I want to have. Then if I'm going to accomplish that with real estate, then here's where I go through and start to think through the intentional goals in order to achieve the kind of person, life, space, independence, right?
And I wish I would have done that. See, I knew the things you said. I want to be a present dad. I want to have my independence. I want to be able to travel. I knew all those things, but I didn't. That next step you said, where you said, "Okay, now if I want to do this in real estate, here's what my work life needs to look like. Here's what my income needs to look." I didn't do any of that. I was just going and going and going and going, and it ended up working out. It, so I'm not saying it was like all the way cowboy, like fast and loose, but like I definitely did not have like a full on plan that I think in hindsight I would suggest that people have, even if it changes. Because like you said, when you know who you want to become, then you know what you need to do to get there. Then you can break it down even further on what steps do I need to start taking, and then you automatically know if you're on the right track.
Yeah. Or who I need to get involved.
All that.
Who do I
Yeah.
need to include? All those things.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of, again, I say all this not saying because I did that. I'm saying it because after having lived over 40 years, I go, oh, this is one, what I wish somebody would have told me,
Mm-hmm.
which is often what it is. It's like, I feel like I spent a lot of my life having to figure it out myself, right? Like, how do I do this? I'm asking questions. I'm trying to find mentors, and people just aren't giving up the goods. And so you get to a point where you feel like you figured a few things out. You're like, you know what? Here's what I would have done differently. Now, one thing that someone did tell me, I was in seminary, one of my favorite professors used to say, create a mission statement for your life. Say yes to everything that aligns with that. Say no to everything that doesn't. That, for whatever reason, again, shoved into my schema. And I was like, oh, I can do that. Right. And so I came to Phoenix. I'm in seminary, but I was always like, I want to figure out a way to take, the creativity that I've always loved and the theology that I'm learning. And somehow, if I can get athletics in there somehow, I want to do that. And so when a homie of mine who had played ball overseas was starting a Christian record label, I was like, creativity, seminary, He's an athlete. I'm an athlete. We'll figure it out. I'm like, at least two of the three are in there. And I'm
Mhm.
like, yo, this aligns with the mission statement. This is the kind of life I wanted to live. And so that's why I moved in that direction. That's why I'm here. We eventually meet. You're not going to know everything that's going to happen. And again, it wasn't a situation where I, at the time, was thinking, oh, this is the life I want to live. This is who I want to become. But it was sort of like a nebulous cloud up here of like, this is sort of the thing.
Mhm.
And as time has gone on, my wife said this to me, I think yesterday. She was like, over the years, it feels like your life, like it's like your identity is becoming sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper, you know? And that's sort of a thing that you kind of want to hear
Mhm.
from someone who lives that close to you, not even as a compliment, as just a matter of fact. It's just like, this is just a thing that's happening, right? Where you go like, huh, I guess it is. And hindsight is 2020, right? So then when I say like, figure out who you want to become and then get a good idea of that, everything else after that becomes easier to answer, right? The steps, who else you want to get involved, because it's gonna influence the friends you have, the people you spend time with, the work you do. And it doesn't mean you're gonna make any drastic changes, but you'll at least start to think like, the person who I want to become, I want that to be the guiding force
Mhm.
for every decision that I make. And again, for people coming into real estate, for someone who's already done it, I think one, hearing that you have gone through it for as long as you have and had insecurities, but still sort of like kept going and then had success, I think is super important. And then at the end to say, set goals, be intentional. Again, in hindsight, I didn't do it all. I didn't do it all correctly, but I did it the way I knew how to do it. And in hindsight, this is how I would tell somebody to do it to get maybe the results that I got sooner
Mhm.
or in a better way.
Sure.
So, all right.
All right.
My wife is calling me.